There we go. We're up and running. So hello everybody. Welcome back to, well, basically the final episode of Metaphor. So, since last time, Rion has learned every archetype, but I have not mastered every archetype because, sweet Jesus, I would need to do so many more freaking fights and runs to do that. I was happy to just unlock all of them because that actually gave us some very interesting stuff. Mainly on Rio, we got King Sovereignty here that prevents anxiety for all allies. Anxiety is a dick in the final battle, so this will make something so much easier. And also this. So yeah, we actually get a free half-press turn icon at the start of a freaking fight. Well, every turn actually, so yeah, that's nice. It also... Yeah, he also had this for Merchant. I didn't really do this with everybody else, because everybody else does in fact have weapons to give for that. It's just taking so much longer to do, so yeah, everyone's basically just got their royal form mastered. That's cool and all. Currently have Heismay, primarily because of Noble Thief Soul. You really want something that can help you, like, mitigate the enemy's amount of turns in the final battle. Like you wouldn't freaking believe. And we have Juna. She's basically just set up for Masquerade charge spam. That's all she's really here for. And then we have Stroll. He's of course going to be yet another synthesis skill spam, and I've got him set up for basically boosting slash damage. This one also increases all front row ally damage by 10%, and this increases strength and hit rate of synthesis skills, so he's doing even more damage. Formation of Vigor in case, well, he'd actually do something else. Rion is very similarly set up, except he's more for Almighty instead of Flash. We don't have as many options for him. But, so, yeah. Hopefully this makes the final boss way easier than when I had to do it the first time. First time I went and fought the final boss, I only had Hulkenberg and Juna in their royal forms. And I don't think Hulkenberg even mastered hers. Like, I think I got her... about here, I think? And that was it. All, like, and then I ran out of my, hero items. So, yeah. One issue I did run into was, well, like, while trying to get Rion to learn all the different classes, was the fact that you run out of mag really fast. The best way I found for trying to do that, basically, like, you have the deck collector skill on Merchant. I taught that to all 4 of my frontliners. And then I just went to, yeah, like, this fight here, where there's only, like, 2 dudes. Just, like, kept fighting them. You do actually have to, like, fight and win the battle in order for it to count, by the way.
Right here. Come and get it.
Oh no, we're respawning.
Hey, what?
Brace yourselves.
There's actually an enemy that still starts fights. God damn it.
Run away!
There is still danger here. Stay vigilant.
Oh, you can actually die in the overworld? I thought we just automatically got thrown into a fight, like, really? I didn't know that.
No, looks like they found us.
Oh, work dude didn't come after us this time. Works for me. Over one more.
think?
All right.
They found us! Look alive!
That's right. It's like an S for actually printing
Now
over
we've
here.
got this. Keep an eye
Some
out.
of these guys are actually blue now.
There are enemies around.
Huh. That guy's killable
Victory is
too.
ours. And safety hard won.
All right.
Yep.
Look,
Yep.
At last.
I'll Should we keep going?
Yeah.
Here's hoping this goes way better than my original fight.
I confess, I did not believe you would actually survive the Gauntlet.
Hi.
Oh, please. Think about what you're trying to achieve. Nothing could stop us from getting to you.
I can accept that you hate injustice. Maybe we do share that. But I have to ask, Luis, why go to this extreme? Is it because you're elder? You saw your village destroyed for petty, evil reasons. Is this revenge?
Revenge? Ludicrous. That would accomplish nothing. An entire tribe does not become so derided to the point of genocide by authority figures alone, but by the vice of the society in which that ignorance is born. Indeed, it would be equally petty of me to take only the heads of the few familiar guilty, for my own satisfaction. No, I would not repay injustice with injustice.
then why? You drew the entire nation into your scheme without hesitation. If not revenge, then what would compel you to such ends?
It is true that I was born in the ancient sanctum, but I never held any fondness for the place. The Elder have long lived in hiding, clutching the truths of the world to themselves alone. A tribe of doors locked and secrets encoded. I wanted to change that isolation. And then, at long last, a man from outside the village came to visit. None other than your father.
That's...
Though royalty, he dreamed that the tribes might stand side by side as equals. And he rejected none of our village's history, however inconvenient to his worldview. I saw him with the eyes of a child. And for the first time, I felt a dream stir. Were there more idealists like him in the world outside? Was my life of hiding at an end? Under the canopy of that gloom-thick forest, all I wanted was to leave and live upon the open plains beneath a wider sky. But as for what happened to the ancient sanctum afterwards, it is a story you've already been told.
It was set aflame and crushed beneath the church's heel. The Sanctist warrior monks and ordinary guardsmen alike, all in the palm of Forden's hand.
Neighbors and kin I'd known all my life were soon nothing but ash on the wind. Too quick to realize their own deaths. I was but a child, trembling before a wall of fire. It was a massacre. It had nothing to do with any hate on either side, or retaliation for any perceived offense. It was only pure injustice. A selfish act of devastation. One thought alone burn in my mind. I would never
Now that I think
let
about
it
it,
happen again.
okay, so like
So did I walk onward.
it was burned because Forden doesn't like the Elder because of the whole like Secrets of the World thing. But they also mentioned that it was done to kill the prince. But like, wasn't the prince at the palace? Or did it happen like... No way, I guess it couldn't have happened like he was attacked at the palace, then brought to the Elden Sanctuary, and it tried to be blamed on Louis, so it had to have happened after the attack. But like, they kept acting like the king didn't know the prince was still alive. Did no one tell him? Why?
It was tragic.
Thus, I choose to make this a land of eternal, perfect equality, even should it cost my life. I shall return the anxieties endowed upon this scepter, and let it be heard. To burden others with your own fears and responsibilities is cowardice. My royal magic shall craft a world where that cannot be. Such cowardice dies.
In the worlds you dream of, there is no prosperity.
Indeed, we all have our own burdens to bear. But that shouldn't mean it's wrong to help each other carry them.
Luis, you're not describing a nation that condemns evil. You're describing a nation that's entirely blind to it. A land of amoral beasts, not people. In the end, I think you're still trapped. You've been stuck in that night of flames all your life. You don't trust anyone. That's why you can only imagine a world apart from you. Unless you can face that anxiety within yourself, then you're no different from everyone you've rejected.
So be it. From the beginning, I have championed world order determined by power. All that remains is for me to realize my truth by burying you beneath it. You are not the sole wielders of these lost archetypes. I am Luis, bearer of the royal scepter. With only a thought, the power of kings is mine to command.
What?
Behold, and I will reveal the secrets still beyond you.
Oh, now he's starting to look like Lucifer.
Come, we decide our world's future. Our land is consumed with anxiety as it has never been before. All of it. Foundation for my new, better world. You are but an audience, powerless to tread on history's stage. Let it begin.
We fight for your ideal world.
All
Here
power
and
of
now.
kings!
We'll take him down. Now
That-
for a grand maneuver.
Alright, how much damage are we actually gonna do?
Quite a boon.
I will crush.
We'll do this together.
Your heart.
If you would.
After me!
Damage, not bad.
Let's do this.
Hey, alright.
Very good. By all means, challenge me. Stake everything you have on this battle. I will face your convictions head on and crush them.
I think I at most was doing like 1,000-ish damage a hit in my first run.
There is no hope for you. Face my wrath. You shall run from your fate.
Where's he doing a soul cry?
Follow me.
We'll combine to help.
My thanks.
My thanks.
Let's set it up.
I'll lend a hand
Fill
myself.
up.
Let's get on with it.
And Stroll's the one doing the damage. I keep hearing people talk about how they one-shot shit with the MC, but it's like, Stroll's the only one I'm well, Stroll is doing double damage with it, not like Rio's is doing terrible damage, but still.
Satisfactory.
I I admit, it feels...
I shall strive.
Excellent!
Power.
I'm better and stronger.
I think we've won this one. So the power I have now is not enough.
The Magla drawn to the royal scepter has faded more than I expected.
Just as I thought.
I would be a fool to underestimate you. But I made a decision that day. Even if history remembers me as the Destructor King, I will put an end to the injustices of this world.
Yes, we know.
What? What are you?
I commend you. Clearly no half measures will do. If I'm to take your lives, I must stake my own, and all its power.
Damn! We can't get close! Tis tremendous aura!
I have a vision, and you will interfere with it no longer. Ah! Wait!
Ninny ninny poo poo.
It's his gauntlet runner.
Luis still has the royal scepter. If we let him buy time, there's no telling what he'll do.
Bloody hell! We can't even go after him.
There's no time to go back down to land and reorganize. We'll do whatever it takes to get that scepter back before the dawn.
Ah, everyone! That bastard Luis took to his Skyrunner!
Yes, we know. Can you go after him?
It'd be suicide, lad. Oh, suppose it's too late to back down now. Well, I was saving some reserve power for the trip home. But if we're using it here, we're using it here.
Because I guess we ran out of power at some point?
Well, chums, batten down the hatches and brace for the storm. Hop to it now! Get in! I'll just fire up the...
Look over there! Enemies! Ugh, of all times! Wait, how many are there? Where did they all come from?
Why are they even doing this?
He's trying to slow us down. Ain't like Luis to put off a
Luis
fight.
can't command humans, though.
Can't be picky anymore.
Hold on! The old girl's still barely holding together. She can't take off that quickly.
What do we do?
Your Highness, you get in the runner first. We'll buy you some time for takeoff.
We can fight them together.
No. Even if we get the Skyrunner off the ground, it'll all be for naught if anything happens to you. No need to fuss anyway. We'll just kick them around for a bit while preparations are underway. Does that work for everyone else?
Fine. Suppose I'll keep you company.
Had you not suggested it, I would have done so myself.
What else are we gonna do? Twiddle our thumbs inside while Norris does all the work.
Nearus, don't let us down now.
Right. I'll get it done, damn it. Hop in, Your Highness.
Well,
We hold the line!
I swear this whole part is also kind of dumb too, because is anybody buying this? That we're gonna have to do the entire last part of the boss fight alone? Sweet Jesus, the frame rate. Eh, that's only a synthesis skill for her in that form.
Got it. We're powered.
Oh, good. They're going for the Sky Runner.
Not on my watch.
Let's wreck him.
Hey, what are you doing?
Sure you want to die next to me, old man? Thought you ate platypus.
Aye, it's true I don't understand you and I never will.
It's barely a part of my character, so it hardly matters. It only gets lip service at best. So when the heck is that supposed to be? I guess it's the ship? The Chartreuse? But it's also like not really able to point at us here? Get a good firing line?
What? And no one must protect his people! Take this!
Wait, wasn't he really far away there?
Finally, I've earned my title.
She flies. Straight and steady.
Our kingdom is in your hands, my prince.
We gotta go back! Everyone, they're going to!
We can't go back now.
We have to!
Take cover in the back. You made my dreams come true. You and the rest of them. If we live, we'll meet again.
What are you...
Let's fly!
They're trying to go for drama points, even though anybody who knows these kinds of games knows it's all bullshit.
You've lost everything, and yet still here you stand. I must say your audacity is almost admirable. However, you rejected me, and I will not relinquish the royal scepter. Since we cannot come to...
Yes, we know we can only do this in fights.
Prince, do you wish to stop me? Or do you wish to be king? What is it you truly want?
I mean, it's basically the same
They're
thing.
the same thing.
But they are not. The king shouldered the people's pain all he could, and still his paradise never came. You need only look at the kingdom now to see that. But it hardly matters now. My ascension is complete. With my own hands, I will tear apart these lie-laced dreams and bury the past. Here ends the royal bloodline and the legacy of the archetypes. We stand on the threshold of a new dawn, a new age.
I can't listen to any more of this. What new age? What do you know about him? All you do is destroy. You refuse to believe in dreams. That's why you can't believe in anything that's gradual, complicated, and slow to change. All that means is that you give up on everything. You'll never beat us. You're nothing but a coward trying to escape this reality for one you made up.
The time for words has passed. So be it.
Last fight didn't count.
Such intense magla!
Man, his aim is terrible.
The quintessential force of the archetype. Is this all?
Such strength! How? It's happening so quickly!
Behold! This is the Royal Scepter's potential. Resist no longer. As I said, I would rather not force needless death upon you. Embrace it once more. Take your true form and become worthy of my new world.
Oh yeah, that's right, he has the whole human spell thing. And we never did anything or try to make a plan for if he tried to do it again.
You are unfazed by the melancholy.
Yeah, we're totally unfazed.
Drink deep of the magma.
Not again!
What?
Stop!
This seemed like a smart move.
Get me! Wake up! I said wake up! Hey, please,
My obstacles are clear.
The boy
open your eyes!
is no more.
Wake up! Please! You have to wake up!
Oh, it's Book Ex Machina.
Where? Are you awake now? I summoned you just in time. Do you remember what happened? What you've done?
Luis cast a spell and...
I'm frankly amazed you would go to such lengths, even to fight back against the spell. If I hadn't saved you, you really would be dead. But rest assured, we're finally safe. As for where we are far, far away from that hellish world. Do you remember the first time we met? I was sure you would find a clue in your journey that might reveal where in the world this place is. So I believed anyway, but I was wrong. From the start. This place is... It was never of that world to begin with. No. Maybe there's a better way to put it. This is a place that exists between reality and fantasy.
A velvet room, if you
In
might
other words,
even.
the world we've been living in is fantasy. The journey was all an illusion.
An illusion?
There's nothing but despair in that world. And it will never get better. It's an endless, painful, irredeemable hell. I'd always believed that creating a utopia was possible. And if there was desire, then I thought maybe one day someone would achieve it. But I came to realize I was mistaken. In the end, a fantasy is just that. A fantasy. But all that primordial chaos only exists in that world. The world of reality is nothing like that. Really, it's an environment you should know quite well. You've come to know so much of it already. Through text on a page. Now, behold!
Isn't this?
Indeed. It's the world I wrote accounts of in my novel. Until now, you've thought this world a mere fantasy. But it's not.
So the world I know is all an illusion. And the world of the novel is reality?
Surely you already know. There is no deadly magic, no prejudice between its people.
Are you sure about that?
All you have to do is admit that everything you've been through has been nothing but a story. Just a fantasy. Then this can be your perfect reality.
What's going on? We're trying to pull a
Your
Persona
journey of
4.
evolution was just a passing dream. Let me take you back to reality, child.
What will happen to my friends?
You don't have to worry. As long as you can accept that this place is real, everyone will be safe. That world is past any point of redemption. Change is impossible. The royal magic was supposed to be the turning point, but it was all for nothing. In the end, people don't want their world to change. They just want someone to be a sponge for their infinite anxieties. That's all. You can't blame Luis for wanting to end that cycle. How could anyone accept that they lived in a world that miserable?
Obvious.
so,
What a bad end
I don't
option
wanna
is
give up on
obvious.
Come on, snap out of it!
What?
My, such disbelief on your face. But once you stop to consider it, the ideas fall apart. Come now. Magic? Some otherworldly force capable of anything, with anxiety as its fuel? A fanciful idea to sustain a fantasy world. Illusion. All of it.
Why did you say our friends
Those
could come back?
curiosities in academia, they were there because of the place's connection to true reality. And not even they could endure.
No,
You
illusion
still
even
don't
magic?
believe me. Why is that?
This place? I know it's not real.
But why? What unfinished business remains in an unwinnable battle? If I hadn't saved you, you would have died there. You don't have to chase your fears and anxieties based on some misguided concept of justice. It was all illusory, and there is no shame in accepting that. Reality is a monolith. Reality is unchangeable. So stay here in Utopia, in the place you loved reading about so much.
This place, it isn't a utopia.
You know, for sometimes the novel truly depicts the ideal world.
You deny it? Will you deny that the world of the novel is Utopia?
Now, it's hard to say it, but this place is an ideal world after all, and
I can at least cast my usual spell for you. It's the small comforts, right? Music was the first magic this world ever knew, after all. Makes the road a little easier, right?
Yeah, I kinda know what goes around me. Rousing my spirits with more magic. Has it been
Journey,
lost?
My friends, they were as real as anything I've known. Why won't you understand? Please, I don't want you to die. I can't lose anything else. Truly, I see. I understand now. I remember. I had indeed lost everything. Despite my lofty ideals, I lost everything. Academia, the woman I loved, even my only child. Reality isn't just cruel. It's cruel beyond any hope of change. That's why I had wished for someone to strike me down and end my misery.
You hoped for death?
My name is Ethludius V. I once reigned as king.
Dun dun dun.
Or I'm half of one, to be accurate. I was born of the very magic that split the prince in twain and gave rise to you and this place. No, it is not real. We are inside the book you hold. It served as your key to visiting me. This was the form of my youth, when first I entered the ancient sanctum. Perhaps it would be best to call me a discarded shadow of idealism.
Does beg the question, if, like, Mor didn't separate from Hythalios, could he have actually been a better king?
I once took such joy and passion from my ideals.
Not entirely certain how he got the whole split personality treatment like we did.
And discrimination that plagued
I guess it happened.
It's
Like, didn't ours occur due to Elden magic in the Sanctum? Just recently forming us too. When the hell did Mor exactly get born? If it was at the exact same time, that would have been like post-King death, wouldn't it?
But the tremendous incomprehension and injustice that defines our world, it was more than I could bear. It broke me. And Luis is likely going through the same thing. I want to save you from that despair. I understand now that I would do this as your father. I could not bear to lose my child a second time. If you stay here, at least you'll be saved. Do you truly still want to leave this place and risk your life to face a reality you can't change?
Yes.
You are on the cusp of dying at Luis's hands.
You literally ripped your own heart out.
It's enough that we lack the power to change reality. I can't let you throw your life away against that man. I must stop you. Even if you come to hate me for it. Fantasy is a curse, sweet in seeming. And if I must save you from it, I will teach you what reality is.
After this dumbass fight. I don't know why they designed this fight the way they do.
It's destined to be only another unfulfilled dream. Archetypes embody the power of heroes who sought to change the world. And even having mastered such power against Luis, you could accomplish nothing. I wrote all my ideals into my novel, but my love's death showed me how empty it all was. You cannot sacrifice your one life for an empty dream.
I have to try at least.
Why can't you see that those ideals will only invite ruin? If no one else, you must live. That world is beyond your help, beyond any utopia. You must face reality, my son.
come forth.
Oh boy, this fight. Main issue with it, well, I'm doing way more damage than I did in my first fight with this.
In the real world.
Here comes the first move that makes this fight a pain in the ass.
Tears of naivete in you. Then even my folly has come to haunt you. My
God, you talk a lot.
As your father, you leave me no choice. Do not fall
Wait,
prey
what?
to an impossible dream.
He's not doing anything?
This is
Yeah, this is it. He always keeps this up for full frickin' defense. But his damage is shit. He wasn't really doing much more damage in my first run, too. Like, I think he hit at most like 60, I think?
Let's say I won't hold back. I'll cut through.
So this whole thing was just like a slow burn as I just kept whittling him down. Oh no, I still had a Seeker's Void, so it's reducing his attack a lot for this fight. So we were basically just like slapping each other every turn.
I have no choice.
And he always does the exact same moves in like the same 3-turn order.
Vitus power.
And I also did have the crowd, so I didn't have my extra turns too. What do you mean we were your first reader? How would we be your first reader when it was a published novel that was circulated enough to get the notice of the church to be banned? On top of that, how was it exactly banned? It was the king's freaking thing, you know, work. He was the one who produced and released it.
A tough one. You're here.
And yeah, and see, he always goes right back to the start and does the exact same things as before. But like, really, Fordy could just ban his book before he even became like the, well, even before Sanctism became the state religion. What the heck?
What irony. After I spoke of fulfilling my dream alongside you. What power.
Yeah, basically, as long as you have a heal spell, you're not losing this fight. Heck, items would probably carry you through it.
If you go back now, your ambitions will avail you nothing. You'll only die a dog's death. What is it that drives you so?
Shonen.
You gave up on your hopes, but I will not.
What? Are you this determined to cling to your beliefs? Is that truly what separates us and keeps me confined here? Such power. Can it be? No matter how dire your fate, you never gave up. You surmounted every barrier, gathered and united soul after soul, and now, at last, across 3 nations, 8 tribes, and humankind, to unite heroes across such abyssal divides would require surpassing power, the king of all archetypes. Is that the role you would seize? A true king in body and soul.
Do you hear me?
Oh look, suddenly everyone's back!
How? Their voices reach you? Even here? It would seem your future is not yours alone to decide.
My friends are waiting for me.
The support and ardor of your allies. Yes. The very power that reveals paths beyond your own perspective. I see. That is whence you draw your power. Neglect anxiety, and magic will lead to ruin. Even before the War of Destruction, the downfall was foretold. Yet still, they met their prophesied end. Perhaps archetypes are the will of humankind of old. left to us. A plea that we learn from their failures, that we might rebuild the future ripped from them.
We don't know that it can't be done.
Fascinating. Even as you face down the gravest oppression of reality, still you persist. Still you seek the world's unknowns as precious possibility. I see. Well, if you can believe there is more to the story than the end I see, then it is yours to tell. Once you return to reality, this place will surely fade as the dream it is. I, myself, will not be spared. Unlike you, my other half is long gone. And any reunion lost.
But why, though? I mean, the prince was full-on dead before we refused with him, so why couldn't that work for more?
If I truly am the idealized soul and hope of your father, then before I fade, I entrust you with the power of my life. Not as the author Moore, but as your father, the king.
Hey, before me fades away. I guess this is supposed to be what regrows our heart? Maybe? Like in academia. I wrote my ideas as a fantasy novel because I believe that there is power in fantasy. All my story ultimately did was trailed in the glories of the past. Perhaps yours will show us the true power of fantasy. Carry on as you would. Make your final preparations. My time as Moore may be coming to an end. Continue to serve you in that role. So yeah, this is supposed to be our pre-final boss fight, like, setup kind of a thing. And hi, Kiva. I need to use the restroom though real quick. Because the next bit's gonna be fairly long. Said, yeah, gonna need a pee break. So. Alright. I have in fact peed, so time to go out.
However...
Out we go.
The kingdom rests in your hands now. If there is yet any value to believing in something beyond us, prove to me that fantasy has the power to color reality. Now, onward. Oh.
awake!
Is he all right?
Thank the stars.
Huh. Considering it was we who engaged Amata's gambit, this must be rather humorous to him.
We pulled through, thanks to Neurus. Can't believe he caught us mid-plummet on that busted Skyrunner.
How?
Well,
The freaking Skyrunner got rammed into the ship and was in flames and threw us out, and like then we had the whole human bit. And you're trying to tell me Nora somehow took his freaking Skyrunner, picked up the 3 guys who were falling through the air, swung back to the island to pick up the other 3, then came back here to us? Really?
Like what Luis did. Only the magic working in reverse.
Really?
What?
Oh no, wait, I guess we're back on the Skyrunner again too? We were on the Teridrius earlier, weren't we? We're also not really gonna explain too much on how the hero's heart and clothes got fixed. I'm gonna guess it was more,
Why do you
maybe?
still stand in defiance? What drives such tenacity?
You're a dick.
Luis, the world is full of injustice.
We're doing this again.
Not everything you've said is wrong, much as it hurts to admit.
Yet, you would give up because you see no other way. And no future can come from that.
I guess just this
We may
time
struggle with
everybody
fear
else
and
gets to say
anxiety,
this
but we
too.
shape our own destiny with our own hands. I have no doubts.
Yes, you're a man who has endured tragedy. It's foolish, I know, all this talk of belief. I know well. That said, if you cast aside all belief, all that remains is to endure a slow death.
As for me, I believe things can change. I have to. Singing and believing aren't so far apart, right? Even then, my songs touched you too. I know they did.
After I'd idealized my death more than I ever did my life, thanks to a chance encounter, everything changed for me. Now I can hope for the best, without fearing for the worst. The possibilities are endless. If you ask me, that's what magic is.
Luis, you got all these people who believe in you, because you gave them a shred of hope. And now, you want to crush that hope. Maybe you're the one who's scared. Deep down, you're afraid to admit to yourself, you're the one who's hopeless now.
Luis, the fairies came to live in the Sanctum. But do you know why we chose it? The Elder Tribe. We admired the people of humanity. To make our dreams into realities, we have to trust each other. When people do that, that's what makes them so amazing.
Wait, what?
If you
Does one of
deny
the
the power
fairies
of
ever
death,
actually
if you
talked
make
about
the
and
world
actually
a
been
place where it can't
characters
exist,
beyond Gallica?
You're just plain wrong.
And anything about what their beliefs and stuff is.
Fools. These false foundations. Who in their right mind could promise such fantasies? I will never let injustice be repeated. Never again!
His aura is entirely different. It's a magla burst. Luis is becoming a human.
Come on then! No choice now. We prove ourselves with all that we are!
Let's go then. This is our final battle.
Holy shit, this fight is a pain in the ass. We're probably gonna have a much easier time of it than I did originally, but sweet Jesus, this fight is a pain.
You will die in tribute to my ideals, Prince.
You will win this.
So, there's 3 different masks here. Like, as I recall, this one is the support one. It casts, like, support buffs and removes debuffs it gets. All that kind of fun stuff. This is the physical one, and this is the magical one. They also have 5 turns to play with, on top of all the other usual shenanigans that bosses can do with trying to give themselves extra turns. On top of all that, it also has another mechanic in it. I don't know if I'll be actually letting it, you know, show up to play, but basically, when the, like, when it comes around to, his turns, he'll, like, at the end of it, like, his final round is always used to, like, create a figurine of one of our characters. And then, like, if you don't destroy, like, if you don't hit that mask with, like, a certain amount of damage, he eats it, the mask gets fully healed, and it gets, like, triple heat riser cast on it. So, yeah, it's a giant pain in the butt. Let's see if I actually, how far I can actually go with this. There, Kenny Leos, how are you doing?
Give me your aid!
Alright, this... yeah, that can hit all of them.
We'll combine our strengths.
Perhaps this suits me best.
Yeah, this is the physical one. They're like, each mask is like super resistant to whatever type of damage it favors.
How disappointing.
This, come on, help me out.
It's no safe.
Helpful as ever.
Quite a boon.
Come forth, royal soul.
Have no need for you.
I'm counting on you! After me!
You can do this.
There is no
We got one down.
Oh, power of kings.
So that's some okay damage.
I bet no one here fights alone.
We'll come to help.
My thanks.
Much thanks.
You struggle in vain. Give in to the truth. Your fantasy has no meaning whatsoever. Give in to anxiety.
Yep, and he also has a very high chance of causing freaking anxiety, which is why that sword we got is actually really nice.
The inequities of the world can only be cleansed if the strong subsume the weak. Now, be a noble sacrifice. Sacrifice yourself to the new age.
There it is. So now we have to do enough damage to the middle head, or else it'll eat that and get superpowered.
Wait, they're puppets? I'm sensing deadly Magla in the puppets.
Let's go.
Attack him with full force.
Oh, nice. I still deal. Yeah, I still deal decent damage. Go with Stone Cleaver here. Holy crap, we're actually critting.
That all you have?
My fast dancer.
You can face.
Oh god, Rion's actually getting really low on freaking MP, isn't he?
I'm all prepared.
Give me your aid! Not done yet.
This should work.
That helps.
Thank you.
My thanks.
How vexing. I refuse to die yet.
Someone heal him fast.
Sacrifice yourself.
Apparently Heismay just cannot dodge. You know why I brought out Heismay over my setup that I used before? Involved a lot more Makarakarn.
And so safe.
Helpful as ever.
Quite a boon.
Heisman, they've dropped your defenses.
Have no need for you.
I can't afford
Oh, okay.
Let's do this!
Please allow me.
The puppet's Magless mating.
That went so much faster than before.
My perfect world!
I basically, in my first run, I focused on the Mask of Joy to get all of his freaking buff manipulation shit out of the way. Then I think I went for the magic, then I went... No, wait, I went for the physical head, then the magic head. Because every round I had Junai cast Makara Karn onto Hulkenberg, and then had her draw attacks to her, so she would guarantee be hit by a magic attack, and then reflect it and end all of his rounds before he could summon another doll.
You will be a sacrifice. You will sustain the strong. Oh, weak one. Oh, peon.
His Magla has gone out of control. At this rate, even a man of Luis's mental strength would lose his grip on sanity.
In the end, even he couldn't escape his own anxiety.
Then by his own logic, we've got to put him down. The weak deserve to die. The bastard's own words, yeah?
If he saw
You got a bit of a
threat to
slasher
our
smile
power,
going on there,
then
dude.
let us wield it.
You can't just believe in nothing. Nobody can rely on themselves alone. It's a pitiful way to live, and it's time we put an end to it.
Luis Guiaban! Here and now, I will strike you down!
Okay, it's time to do this. Give us our final call to arms.
Come on, everyone. Let's go!
Inspiring.
Last chance. We've come this far. We have to end this here and now. Heisman's in real danger. Come on, follow me.
But my face.
I owe you.
My thanks.
I will. Let's work together. Maybe I won't hold back.
I'm gonna need to restore his
Let's do
MP.
this.
Damn,
Some
okay.
must wait. Just a little while longer. This should work.
I knew you'd help.
That helped.
Helpful as ever.
This now for a grand maneuver.
You can stay.
My thanks.
Quite a boon.
Let's say, lend me your strength.
I shall fight.
Oh yeah, that's right, he's technically a human now, so that means the bonus damage on Royal Sword actually works. Holy crap, we actually one-turned him. In this form of Luis, he does get the full 5 press turns all the time. He can Soul Cries to give himself more turns after a certain point. And he basically has the exact same moveset as before. So plan accordingly or you're gonna die, just for the fact that he'll get like 8 frickin' turns and spam AoEs the entire time.
Dawn breaks.
Look! He's done it! He's finally beaten Luis!
Does this mean he's won? I'm not dreaming this.
He did it.
Not yet. I have my ideals. Witness!
Well, Luis is tenacious, if nothing else. Or even is Luis here.
Fighting their fear and anxiety. Nobody knows for sure what's right. And even through all that, The people have declared you king!
We fight for more than justice. Show him our will against his. Show him the fall of his world!
Hold fast to your ideals! 'Tis your sworn duty as king!
What are our ideals? Outside of racism bad.
Their footsteps. Now it's your turn to take your place with them.
Your fantasy is naught but lies!
What? What's going on?
Man, why did the teleporter do that? Why have the energy go into the teleporter to do that? Wouldn't it be better if it went into, like, the heart of the machine?
It's a dream. With the power to change the world!
Damn you!
Why did they give only the Prince and the King one here the freaking, like, anime eyes to it? The other ones just have glowing eyes. Thank you, Gabe.
That must be the Lord that governs Utopia and all worthy champions. The hero's archetype. The king. I see. At long last, fantasy has become a force that frees people from anxiety. A harbinger of change for a deadlocked reality.
The people have chosen my son. With that, my tremendous gamble hath borne fruit. Thus it is that my duty here draws to a close.
And now, the novel you wrote with such passion will finally begin a new chapter.
This voice... is that... could it be? But how?
While flames swept through the sanctum, I cast a final spell to abandon my body and survive in soul. I became an immaterial being among the fairies. I had to, so I might provide guidance to the child on his most perilous path.
The power of the archetypes. Was that your doing?
No. All I did was awaken them to it. My voice carried the words they needed to hear. That power is no great.
Really? Your
and rare
generic
treasure.
speech is just supposed to be the words people need to hear when transforming into archetypes the first time?
And anyone has the power to change the world. Those children proved as much.
I am truly sorry. I lost all the power I once knew. I saw the sanctum burn, and you. I lost you. Once they took our child from me, all my remaining hope went with him.
Seriously, did no one actually tell him that the prince was alive all this time? Really? He died thinking the prince was dead?
And so I placed my faith in the royal
Like,
majesty.
seriously? Why?
I believe that if this world would choose him, there would still be hope.
This shall do. That boy's fight, and ours, is finally over. The people no longer need some mystic relic or some lofty magics to soothe their fears. They have found the strength to overcome it within.
No, they haven't? What are you talking about? Isn't everyone's focusing all their desires onto us still?
Provided they can turn their anxiety into strength and never stop walking toward the unknown, reality will ever change. Their world shall be one full of possibility.
This isn't about the throne anymore. It marks the beginning of a new era, led by those who are truly worthy of the people's trust. Almost the appointed
Are we really?
time now. The day is dawning on a new king's reign. And with it, my true passing. However, if I may truly end my life with pride in my boy, and my love at my side, I've no regrets.
It's been a long road to this moment, hasn't it?
It has indeed. But for our son, a new journey now begins. Heed me, all people of the kingdom. Dawn breaks, and the appointed hour hath come.
He speaks. With the announcement of our new king, everything finally ends.
I now settle the long-contested succession to the throne. They who hath gathered the most faith from their subjects amassed, they who have overcome this fierce contest, the throne's new sovereign, I now reveal. Behold, your new king of your kingdom united.
He certainly did, Lauren. He really did. Oh, I still can't believe it. That boy pulled it off. His Majesty, the new king.
I won't accept it! The new king is Count Luis.
You can't just crown his son after all. That's cheating, that is. Rise up, people! Riot!
He's already descent.
Conduct will not be permitted.
Settle down. The tournament is over. Our new king has been decided, and the royal capital falls under His Majesty's rule. Threaten it, and you shall face the wrath of the Crown Theocracy's warrior monks.
And they're already threatened the crowd with violence.
They really did it.
Quietude descended once again upon the royal capital, and the day of the new king's coronation arrived.
Boy, coronation really crept up on us. There's a lot of people in the crowd.
But we can do this.
Nervous. After everything we survived already, stage fright should be nothing for you.
Apparently we're not dressing for the occasion.
Of course, I'm fine.
If you say so. Just do relax your shoulders once you're out there, eh?
We've all made due arrangements. You can trust in us. Your newfound dignity suits you well, Your Highness. But I suppose you have outgrown that title. Your
I mean, isn't he still a highness?
Yes. That too suits you well.
The Majesty and Highness was interchangeable when it came to royalty. Actually, I hope we can live up to that title.
By the way, saw some of them Senate fat cats hovering about, acting like they've been supporting us from the start, of course. Always on the winning side, eh?
Better than the alternative, no? Especially since we've got some Luis diehards among the people.
I hear that many are concerned about his proficiency with statecraft. To be honest, I'm not so sure myself.
Their concerns justify it's not as though I swayed the entire kingdom to my idealistic
Juno
views.
will stand as moderator at the podium. His Majesty will only be asked for a few brief answers. First, the people would know how you aim to lead them. How will you respond to that, Your Majesty?
Like any of this actually changes anything, but it's like... I'm surprised they actually gave us this option.
In all honesty, I don't know what I can do for the country just yet. I'm still inexperienced. But I'll strive to do my utmost, with all of you at my side.
That's fine. The people have about had it with pompous monologues. Better to say what you mean with determination.
Still, there are a lot of people in the crowd who have never supported you.
This feels like a weird, like, how do I put it? Like, at the start of some RPGs where they give you, like, a personality quiz kind of thing, and then they, like, determine your stats based on that kind of things.
I'll have to let my work...
Also, that wasn't nearly as much of a funny, haha, awkward answer as I thought it was going to be.
Will be
disappointing.
You went from a nobody to the top seat in the nation. No need to puff up and bluster anymore, what? You'll do fine.
Well, technically, we aren't a nobody. We are, in fact, the prince.
The ruler must only stand tall. The rest is not done alone. We are with you.
Indeed. And we're no strangers to more practical work. Whatever our tasks, I'm sure we can handle them.
Well, it is time to make your first appearance as our king. Let us brace ourselves.
Good luck.
I'll do my best.
Well, let's go. To His Majesty, the new king.
All right, a warm welcome, please! His Majesty the new king! Your Majesty, you're so young!
Please. My king, your subjects would hear how you intend to lead them.
Relax, okay? Take it easy and use your own words.
Did we already discuss this in the previous scene?
As a ruler, I've much to learn. I cannot say what I'll accomplish. And yet, I believe the world can change by our hand. And to that end, I will face any odds.
Now, Your Majesty, a few more words. Naturally, some under your rule now supported other people in the race. How do you respond to their voices?
There will be times I let you down. I know that. Only results can prove my intent. But still, even should you oppose your king, you can always believe in your own future. I will make sure of it!
What's your taxation policy?
A nation where dreams and fantasies are always in reach. Will surely be a challenge.
We'll make it happen.
There you go. If you can pull that off, you'll be the finest king we've known. Well then, this is it. Your attention, please.
No lord remains for you to kneel before. Please take the crown with your own hands, my king.
Ah, long have I awaited the arrival of this day. This journey has reached its end. He came to know the goodness of a hero's heart, and became the king his people had always hoped for. But as this journey ends, so another begins. I'd like you to watch over him on his path for a little longer yet.
Honestly, if the game ended here, I probably wouldn't have nearly as many issues as I do with this ending, but still.
Hey, heard the news? They're finally reopening that mage academy that got closed down.
You don't say. The famous one deep in the Montario Mountains. Really? I'm impressed. It only took them a year.
I wonder why they're reopening it in the Montario Mountains specifically. Wouldn't it opening it up in a more, I don't know, easily accessible location be a better idea? Yep, the only way we actually managed to reach there is by flying. How are normal people supposed to reach there?
And get this, the headmistress is none other than Lady Juna.
Because the lady who basically said that her big dream is, you know, grabbing the land, spreading her song, and uplifting the hearts of the people, is suddenly becoming the head of education.
What? The songstress?
Well, she is one of the king's 6 partisans. If she managed to help save the world from Louis...
Yeah, she knows education.
She knows a thing or two about magic. Sounds like they plan to fully open the magic researchers' findings to the people, too. Quite a turn from when the late Sanctifex banned it.
Makes sense to me. After the clash between His Majesty and Luis last year, everyone knows you don't really need an igniter to use magic.
And that's just today's news. It's surprise after surprise, ever since us church folk got the boot from the palace.
It's already been a full year, only natural that there would be unrest among the people.
The Royal Knights. Their leadership was bound to the church more than anything, and now he's out on his ear too. And replaced by Sir Heisme Noctul, no less.
Wait, bound to the church for everything, and now he's out on his... Who's he, specifically?
You believe that? The Royal Knights, led by a Ujif of all things. Though he's one of the 6 partisans himself. When he speaks, everyone listens. No one's about to complain.
Even Parliament now invites citizen representatives to hearings. Strange to think we'd been deaf to the voice of the people until now. It's unbelievable, compared to the days of the autocrats. How swiftly the times change, eh?
Credit where it's due. I think it's thanks to His young Majesty. Remember last year's coronation? Unprecedented, that. Saw heroes of all different tribes celebrating the king's victory. Celebrating among the common folk, even. They tell me some of the younger aristocrats have taken to calling it the Great Reconciliation. It really is a tragedy, what happened to his father, the king. But considering how his sons turned out, I hope he's at peace.
Indeed. Yet the real test is still to come. The first year has seen a lot of good, but we've still got our share of problems.
We are smiling more now, but smiles won't solve the multitude of problems we still
Speaking of
face.
His Majesty, I've also heard some folks saying they've seen a boy wandering around these parts who looks just like him. You don't suppose?
Ah, can't be. Without his escorts? Besides, what business would a king have in this place?
Apparently buying bread.
Mountains upon mountains of appeals from the people. How many days will this take to sort?
After all the trouble you took to flee politics. And somehow you're now the preeminent ladyship of your house. Such is fate.
Despite everything, this year has passed in surprising peace, hasn't it? Honestly, with the royal scepter disappearing like that, I feared more dissent.
I would think that...
After Luis, they swore they could never let that happen again.
But what about the Luis
Either way,
faction?
More and more
He
are
didn't
dealing
lose
with
all of his
conflicts
people.
calmly and openly. Promising.
It promises that I'll have an eternally cluttered desk.
Here, Your Majesty. I've brought in the next load. And there we go. Not half bad, right? Hey, isn't the king supposed to be here?
Here's the first problem. How have you not noticed he wasn't in the seat? But seriously, this is one of the kind of first that are like twinges of wait, what kind of thing going on. Like, didn't we fight to get our ass in that seat, and now we're just abandoning our duties?
Stroll, I'll look for him now.
Wait, I'm coming with you.
Oh, good grief. Some things never change. Not that they should.
I'd say life has changed plenty for us. Yet somehow our captain's same as he ever was.
But we're not doing our work. Are we supposed to be doing this kind of stuff? Oh, it only gets worse.
And then, well, I might have got a bit too fresh with them stuck-up Sanctists. But those bloody church folk been looking down on us for years, you know? Still, it was other Sanctists what stepped in to keep things peaceable too. I reckon they're not all bad. Guess me cogs turning. They lost both their Sanctifex and the Saint Lady last year. Got their own struggles, I expect.
As authority weakens, power falls to the hands of those who have never wielded it. Sure does not corrupt and give rise to a new
Not
conflict.
like it excuses all of them, or makes me want to go up and shake
Take
the
note of
Sanctus'
that.
hand, but you really put some perspective on it.
I believe you'll come to understand them.
You know what, lad? You're all right. You ever need some good, honest work? I'll get you squared, eh?
I see more optimism in the world still will take more than that to affect true change.
I should have known you'd be wandering around without your escorts again. How is it, being able to hear the city's honest thoughts? If you told them you're the king, it'd knock them sideways.
I don't know how people are recognizing us. You think our face would be extremely recognizable given the fact that our face was displayed prominently on those giant frickin' rocks all over the world. Not to mention hanging in the sky over this freaking city.
I see. That's too bad.
Are you that disappointed? She's a lucky one for such company. Either way, let's keep your head down. You know what happens when you're too obvious about this. Sooner or later, the Lady Captain of the Royal Guard...
Oh, there you are. I knew we'd find you here, for crying out loud.
Phew. So you were here.
Speak of the devil.
Let us return, Your Majesty. And I thought I had informed you that Juna would be back from her expedition today.
Expedition? Wait, isn't she running the academy? Why is she going on expeditions?
I suppose I have no choice.
Don't go shirking the freaking, like, role that that people freaking died for you to be there.
Tis settled. I shall come with you on every excursion.
Not dressed like that, you won't. You know how we like snooping around, inconspicuously.
Point taken.
He'll be fine. His Majesty is not about to fall prey to some alleyway scoundrel, surely. Right, Your Majesty.
Yes, it's impossible for us to get, like, a sleep spell cast on us and then abducted.
Fine. Now, Your Majesty, once your business here is finished, please make sure you return to the palace with all swiftness.
All right.
Let's go.
First time Rio and Miss seems so long ago now. She's supposed to be praying to the Grand Cathedral just like back then. Praying to the Grand... Yeah, this is our chance to go and talk to all the social links.
Come now.
You finish your business outside the palace. Please promise me you'll return to assume your duties, Your Majesty. Take this as my pressuring you not to venture out. It's not it at all. Only that as Captain of the Royal Guard, I must know your whereabouts at all times. You'd be so serious, Hulkenberg. Lighten up, maybe. Seriously, no one's concerned about the Luis faction or like remnants that survived to actually come after us, really? And to say I'm too fussy, well, 'tis only proper for the Captain of the Royal Guard. The overly familiar would set a poor example. Imagine the scandalized faces of the rank and file guard. That said, not a day goes by that I'll reflect on our travels, now only a year past. I owe regaining my pride as a knight to that journey. I was but a wanderer searching in vain for the prince, and it was through you I learned he yet lived, and in the end it was your ascent to the throne I supported. I never tired the faces the young god make when I tell them of the time you act as a witness to my duel. Ah, you mean your duel with Redanth? Yes, thanks to you I was able to face him with eyes forward and put my past behind me. I'm pleased to say the knights of today are nothing like what they were under Redanth's command. Soldiers take up their sword, not for those in power, but for the people, and as the champion of the people yourself, we will do all in our power to protect you, our king. Do not make it easy by sneaking out of the palace as you do. I suspect the soldiers are getting used to your chaotic tendencies. They know they protect not just a king, but a ruler who stands beside his people and hears their voices in clarion truth. And I'll protect you with my life, as I have always endeavored to do, Your Majesty. And let me stay by your side to do so. The people can talk. Oh, okay. I mean, you don't need to tell us that, Gallica? Oh, look, the dead man's wandering around. Hello, Your Majesty. It's only been a year since your coronation, but I see you've become quite apt at sneaking away from your palatial duties. Under constant fire from knaves of all trades, con artists and critics alike, your opening act has been rather tumultuous, no? I mean, people say it's been completely ideal and peaceful. Oh, has it? I didn't notice. How kingly an answer. Never miss an opportunity to display how capable you are. Commendable. Besides, most of those agitators are the kind of scum that stirs the pots in hopes that they might benefit from the country's turmoil. Nothing you can handle, of course. All in a day's work for the royal adjutant to the Citizens' Council. Quite an ally I've made, I should hope. And I wonder if my mother would be the slightest bit proud to see who I've become. I'm doing my damnedest to use my talents for good, as I've always should have. There's no doubt in my mind. I hope so. Such a problem, child. I'd like to make this a country where honest folks like my mother can be happy. That reminds me, do you remember Dataram, my hometown's landowner? He told me to send you his regards. He since confessed his crimes and is awaiting trial. You were the one who awakened his conscience. We did? We didn't talk to Dantaram at all, though. Outside of, like, when he was, like, delivering Alonso's message to us? We did nothing of the sort. That was solely you, Alonso. Makes sense, doesn't it? You put in your ideals to be true. That's why the country's doing so well. Nothing more to it. And I'm hardly qualified to speak of pride, but if this country has one, it's you, and I'm proud to be among its people. Perhaps under your rule, the day will come when even we Nydia can walk about freely in our true forms. You're curious what I look like in my true form? I'd be happy to oblige, but let's save that for another time, shall we? I mean, given what Juna looks like in hers, it's basically the same, just small.
Yo.
Hey, I'd expect it again. Seems a right pain to me, but I appreciate you going to all the efforts. Making your rounds, Basilia? Yeah, Captain of the Tradian Brigade's reporting in, and I'm pleased to report there's nothing to report, Your Majesty, so I'm taking a break. Bit of a mouthful in it. Still not used to call myself a captain besides. What position did you have with Luis then? I mean, you were right-hand men, so you must have had some kind of position, given how military Luis ran everything. You know, we've even taken in some survivors from Luis's troops, you know? But don't you worry, I got two eyes on them even when I ain't looking. I see it, they weren't the ones trying to make the world worse. Just gotta show them how power's supposed to be used, yeah? I owe it to you that there's less discrimination in the city these days. Fewer and fewer turn into a life of crime to make ends meet. In under a year? If Dale could see Grand Trad today, his eyes would bug out. Not just Dale, a lot of the guys who didn't make it. Take it you mean Vinka? I remembered him. This damned experiments trapped him in a vengeance he couldn't see past. I feel like even he might smile seeing what I'm up to now. We built this piece with a lot of blood and tears, so I say those of us who made it this far owe it to all of them that, didn't protect it. Maybe I've got none to report today. Well, it's not like bad people just stop being bad because you're king now. You've been through a lot though, so thanks for not giving up on us, or the world for that matter. About any trouble that I didn't spot first, you point me at it, I'll solve it quick like.
Oh.
Well, I see our king is out on some personal business, eh? I leave Hulkenberg was searching for you, but I suppose it's none of my business who comes or goes. I'm on break myself. Only try not to frustrate your royal guards over much, They all take their duties quite seriously, much like their captain. Who am I kidding? A knight who smiles is surely a myth. That's become clear to me since I became titled. What would be more bizarre? Yuji outcast once a wanted criminal with a bounty on his head named Knight Commander? There was of course some opposition at first, but the more heart-to-hearts I've had, the more accepting they become, albeit gradually.
Right.
The world has only begun to change. Indeed, grand titles and posts across the nation are held by all manner of tribes now. How? Who appointed them? What? It's not like racism just disappears just because a minority becomes a leader. What? What have we done to actually influence that so far? Did we appoint them? I've realized over the past year just how much a nation is defined by its people. No matter how great a king, he alone does not a country make. He stands for those very people as a symbol and representative. Now the king and those around him are of mixed tribes. It has already caused a great shift in sentiment, even of those in rural villages. Speaking of your hometown, yes indeed, they shut themselves away. Now they actively engage with other villages. Their coronation inspired the village to greater heights, to prove that barriers can be broken and that even they can take the first step. New winds are blowing in every corner of this country. I'll have to make another trip back to home with my son to see the changes for myself soon enough. And someday I hope distant generations will grow up only knowing conflict born of tribal differences from history books. We've a ways to go before that day comes, but until it does, let us forge the path towards it, Your Majesty.
Alright then.
There's no others here. Like.
Ah, brilliant. Thanks.
And we can still sword surf around here. Oh, there's Nerd. Why is our freaking Gauntlet Runner still parked here? The heck? What brings Your Majesty, Royal Majesty here? Come to feel the wind on your face too, have you? I know how it is. I had the fancy old title Chief Engineer at the Kingdom Infrastructure Development Bureau and can research as I please now, but something's missing. Go through that stuffy old uniform and gaze upon the runner in the way I do. Oh, that's ironic.
Wait.
Or maybe if you took your job a little more seriously. I am, the research part at least. Let's feel it too, eh? The sudden urge to take the runner into the sky and leave all your cares on the ground below. Not that I'm ungrateful for the gracious title you've given to a man you used to skulk about modifying Gauntlet Runners. You haven't seen anything yet. Why, one day I'll invent a teleportation device that will deliver a fresh fish straight from Oceania to your palatial palace. It will change the world, wouldn't you say? I'm just a bit stuck at the beginning on the development. In times like these, I need stimulation of the mind. You have anything that might do the trick? That'd be a little too convenient. Drat! Even the Master Relic Hunter has no leads. Dare ask, how was it you were able to find those dreadful things so quickly? I mean, they just showed up in dungeons we went to. Even if the relics themselves were better off left untouched, they become the guiding principle in my research, you know? Convenience is important, but one must consider safety and the effects it might have on the world. An engineer who dumps the burden on future generations is no engineer at all. Still, it's no small feat to design with the perfect balance of safe and revolutionary. Even I struggle with it. I'm bally genius. I know, but I need stimulation. Your Majesty. You know, like the soul-shaking speed and quiver of a dry vision. You'll let me know if you ever want to go out for a spin, won't you? My dear old girl, sparkling clean and always ready for a takeoff.
All right now.
Ready? Oh, there's Chuna. Now think about it, you can't actually, like, change the characters into these outfits on New Game Plus. Honestly, Junos fits more in with this outfit than in her normal one. Seriously, why is she wearing a more modern-day outfit when, like, most people are dressed up like, you know, peasants? Oh, there you are, Rio, and heard you were in town, so I decided to see if we might cross paths. So much to tell you about my inspections, but I'm afraid you'll need to clear your diary for me. Your diary? Don't you mean clear my schedule? Diary's just what you want right in what you did for the day. The heck? My inspection. Really? Do you need to go back to bed? You were the one who sent me to the Mage Academy, were you not? Were we? Well, Mage Academy's reconstruction is going swimmingly. Repairs are in full swing and we're already processing admissions. The same still a surprise you pointed me of all people to the Academy's headmistress. I was rather looking forward to going back. Why did we appoint her to that then? I guess because we don't have any other character that could possibly fit that role, I suppose. And shall I introduce you to my furry little friend? I scooped him up in the Academy of all places. During the reconstruction, they still went on. Oh, is that supposed to be the cat for a Moore's place? The cat of observatory supposedly used by a king long ago. Considering the igniter around his neck, I'm sure he was being taken care of. I mean, there's no way a cat could survive alone in that cold, could he? Regardless, our mysterious kitty is only the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the Academy. All that knowledge was lost when it fell. I thought it was closed down. They're kind of... Was it torched? What? May even be hiding secrets as big as the Dragon Temple or the Sanctum. Oh, and I'm keeping the cap. Feels like fate, you know. I get fate on my way back. Met up with Myrtis.
Now we're talking.
Keeping well, I hope. More than well, her throat has been fine. She's a fairly prominent singer about town now. Rio just keeps soaring to new heights, her in music and me coming face to face with magic again.
Hey!
You remember music was the first magic born in this world, yes? And the heart... Like... Why is they keep going on about magic being the first music being the first magic of the world? Like, they say that, like, music doesn't exist without magic? What? And the heart expresses itself through music and moves the hearts of others, and when they make hearts well, why, there's no end to the magic. As you watch with music and magic at my side, I'm gonna change the world. Oh, we'll have equal opportunity to hone their talents at the Mage Academy. Our doors are open to all. That's what my sister would have wanted, and if it makes the world a better place, why isn't that just grand? Rella taught me that magic is more than a tool, it's in all of us, deep in our hearts. Here's Brigida. Himself out browsing the shops. Perhaps I need to draft up a royal certificate of appointment. Tell the world we supply goods to the royal family. That's a little embarrassing. Why stop there? You can give me a signed handprint to display on the walls. No, just my little joke. We're doing quite well even without royal endorsement. The igniter I made the children request, the one that lights up with rainbow colors, is selling startlingly well. The store was packed with families and children. I now hold a position where I control the distribution of all manner of goods throughout the kingdom as the head of the Igniter Consortium. Okay. Why do you in control of all good distribution if you're just head of the Igniter Consortium? Does she control food too? Can't help but think if I had been in that position sooner, then the church's violence tragedy of that village would have been prevented.
Brigitte.
That's how we move forward, though, right? Indeed, I can dwell on the past all I want, but it won't change it. The future, on the other hand... Also, wait, how is she still just running this shop if she's also running all distribution network, the entire distribution network of the kingdom? What the hell? Get this post after it was nominated by my colleagues. In other words, I suppose that means people have expectations of me and that I, too, must spoke in the wheel of change. I guess she also replaced the creepy bald dude? I think that was his position before? I don't know. Our new king has changed this country for the better. Or as a former arms dealer, it would be naive to think all weapons can ever disappear from this world.
Yet.
All the more reason I hope that reasons for people to wield them continue to decline. That's extremely unlikely in this world, because again, this isn't a world where the primary source of violence is like people on people. There's monsters out there. There's giant sandworms. There's freaking minotaurs. There's goblins. There's the freaking giant birds, the instant death birds, the smaller birds, the giant bees, the slimes, etc. so on and so forth. But you're like, really, unless you somehow go and, you know, wipe out said monster tribes, etc., that there's always going to be a need for weapons. And I'll continue doing all that I possibly can with all that I am, just as you do. You remember my dog found the ones who took her and naturally considered ending their lives, but there she was sitting beside them, because this story suddenly needs a happy ending to it? What the hell? What, they just stole her dog and then everybody then just kept it? And decided to bring themselves to harm such as weren't they paid church assassins that did that? I had no choice but to spare their lives, couldn't subject a gentle dog to the atrocities I commit in her name. You should come play with her sometime, sure she remembers you. Okay? And Yuffie's still just hanging out right here, I guess. Working hard as ever, Rion. Were you going about town and listening to what the people have to say? Myself had just come from the Crown Court, where I have been consulting with the people about their grievances and disputes as Chief Magistrate.
Well,
Who is taking on common grievances?
Yes, of course.
In the past, we were busy with cases of violence and theft, but those have decreased remarkably. As you're undoubtedly aware, in the past many citizens were sentenced to hang without so much as a trial. These report things are... Wait, Yuffie runs the courts? Okay. Is that something she wanted to do? That just doesn't feel like it's in character for her. Anyone regardless of race or status can tell their side of the story in court and be judged equally and fairly. Yeah, because the racial tensions just disappeared again in under a year. Now, show anything's possible for a priestess to become a chief magistrate. And my brother is making great strides as village chief. He rather hated the role before, but he truly found his calling, I think. As I said, no one knows what the future holds, all the more reason I try to guide people to good choices. I live in a society that practices kindness, where those who suffer need not turn to crime. I practice what I preach. The other day I went to visit Ovi's church to inquire with those who are sick there about how the kingdom can be more accessible to them. How was Ovi doing? Yes, we practiced dancing together, then we showed her mother. All of them are ready to ease into working again. Hearing them made me reflect on all the people who still need our help. Until now, the only hope those people have was God. I want to fight for them to have options under law and systems that can rely on in addition to higher power. A country where all tribes with all their values can join hands in harmony. That's what we need. We aim to achieve with, that too, yes, Your Majesty. I hope you'll allow me to keep walking alongside you in this. That was the nobility taking to this exactly. Hey.
That's something.
An unexpected coincidence, Your Majesty. No guard with you today? No, don't worry, I'm no tattletale. I myself just left a meeting going over how provincial governments are doing. We convened for the new year.
Really?
Seem pretty busy these days. You're lying if it said it wasn't, but the job is its own reward, knowing what good it does for the town. I'm pleased to report as head of the provincial lords, it's nothing but good news reaching my ears. Better relations between towns is employment up and overall welfare too. Each town has specialities and wisdom to offer, and when we combine our heads, there's no problem we can't solve. Just feel so blessed to be part of it. I know I made some blunders when I first stepped into the governor's role, but I'm happy to share my failings so others don't repeat my mistakes. That really brings me back. I was trying to do too much on my own back then, and I got a bit overzealous. Of course, some lords are like I was once, and would rather manage things at their sole discretion than leaving things to the people. And yes, taking every matter to public opinion can be laborious, what with all the proceedings and disputes. Still, changing our own lives with our own hands makes the process worth the trouble. And choosing a king of our own will was all the inspiration we needed for change.
All right then.
Is that everybody? I feel like we're missing something. Well, visit the big man himself. Good timing, mate. Just got back into town myself. Long time no see, Katarina. Ain't it been? I've been out traveling since I took on the reins on the Seekers Recon team. I believe it's been half a year. The crazy doesn't begin to describe what's beyond the sea. The sights, the magic, everything's so fantastic. I'm already itching to get back out there. Especially keen on dodging the bloody cannonballs when my ship gets too close. Lots of tension out there. What country isn't a little tense? So, yeah, there's other countries out there that are hostile? Like, what? What's their relation? Like, do they have the same 9 tribes? Do they have new tribes? Do they have, like, the same issues we did? How did all the madness that we were going into the, like, back during the whole War of Succession shit? Like, did they have the same issues? Like, did the kings, like, rocks show up around there too? They were just like, what the fuck? And if they, like, already knew about our kingdom, why weren't they keeping tabs on it? What? Everything, the customs, the way they think is so different. My head spins. Makes all the tribal bickering seem right dull if I could speak my mind. But the country changed for the better. I'm glad I turned over the throne to you.
Hold on.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Oh, come on, just roasting ya. After we knocked heads, I knew I could trust you with making the lives of us Parapists better than they was. On my cohorts have found jobs. Some of them have even picked up new skills from being out at sea so long. Don't you worry your kingly head. I'll have it all whipped up in a report for you. Do something proper kingish with it, yeah? Uh-huh. Seriously, her talk about there being other countries just feels so weird. Especially since none of them are named or have been mentioned or been a concern up until this point. We'll keep out the city, are we? Say Hulkenberg is on the hunt. The classic game of cat and mouse, though who is which I dare not say. Been a year since you ascended the throne, but it's like you've hardly changed. You haven't changed much either, Stroll. Ahem, that's Lord or General Stroll, Your Majesty. Never get used to such titles. I really should take a page from Juna's book. She has a gift for delegating like she was born to do so. Not that I could talk. I actually came out for a bit of a breather myself. I thought you were all looking for me since I, you know, kind of vanished. Now I see now that even those at the top have their struggles. All too clearly, a general's duties feels overwhelming at times. Their lives hang in the balance. I recognize the weight of every decision I make, and I do find satisfaction in protecting those lives. Remember our first meeting back to the recruitment center? I, a fallen noble with nothing to my name, and you a struggling elder traveler. Back then, my only goal was getting ahead. My people were little more than an afterthought. If I hadn't met you, I'd have never realized the truth about my fortune, my father's intention. I certainly wouldn't have saved the Hallians. I owe seeing the joy in their faces to you. I think I've said it before, but again, thank you. You need to give yourself some credit, Stroll. I would still owe any credit I could take to you for showing me the way. They live stable, peaceful lives thanks to you. The whole country on your shoulders now. The road ahead will be full of challenges we can't possibly foresee. But show me the way and I'll blaze the trail. Now and always, it's my role as a warrior to be the vanguard. My tales may have changed, but I'd like to think our friendship is steadfast as ever. Don't hesitate to rely on me now and always.
So?
Wonderful.
That reminds me.
Alright, let's go see Maria. Right back then, though.
That's right.
Yeah, I remember. Country turned around since then, no doubt about it. I'm sure there will always be a difference of opinions, but your ideals are really coming to fruition now. I can feel it. We're just gonna keep glossing over all this without actually having to, like, describe anything we do. That reminds me, what's up with the book you're always carrying around now? It's the one you've been working on yourself. So I see what kind of fancy Yuki cards you're up. But maybe that's not even the word for it. After all, if you're the one putting it in ink, that means you're going to make it a reality someday. Now then, Your Majesty, shall we get going?
Oh, hello there. Oh, right. I suppose now I should call you Your Majesty. You know, I was just telling Papa, even through all that mess, everyone's really been working hard.
You think this country's gotten any better since then?
Well, seems like everyone's having more fun than before.
That's good. Hearing that from you really lifts my heart.
Way to see kids like her smile. A future changes slowly, and the burden of its momentum will fall on their shoulders one day.
Don't worry. I'll try to do my part with what I've got. I want to help everyone understand that the world could be a better place if we can join hands with one another. Miss Fabian's fed so many hungry people since things changed. Some of those people even said they found their place there. I think I did too. If we can all change together for the better like that, we'll be closer to your Majesty's and Papa's dream.
That's where I ought to be. A side of myself I ought to show. The path is
And
never clear.
I want to help with something too. I want everyone across the land to be able to smile.
Yeah, I'm counting on you. Let's do this together.
Yeah. Thank you, Your Majesty. Oh, thank you, Your Majesty.
We should be the ones thanking her. Feels like I can see the entire country's future in her smile.
Everyone! Long time no see. How have you been?
As we find ourselves afield, I thought I might visit Alsace myself.
Hold on a tick. Those people there. Surely not.
Naturally, we're drawing attention. We didn't all have to go at once.
Needn't fuss, old thing. It's been too long since we were all together again anyway.
Lady Tuna, did she really come all this way in a runner? Would have asked His Majesty to pop over and bring you back with a teleport or two.
The unmitigated nerve.
I mean, in order to do that, she would need some way to contact us to ask us to do
It's
that.
fine. I wanted to take in our country as it is. It's definitely a little rougher outside the capital's walls. There's still traces of melancholia around, and the odd human roaming about.
We're sending soldiers out for
Oh, so
every
humans
we
are
can.
still running about. Again, we're
not
still
easy
gonna
to hear
take
the voice
freaking
of the
weapons
people
like
from more
igniters to
distant
combat them, aren't we?
I guess it's obvious. But just because you're king now doesn't make you suddenly all-seeing.
A lesson I learned last year. In the end, I was blind to a great deal of this world. Never would have learned if I hadn't pushed out the door and seen it with my own eyes.
Alright, the capital can be a bit of a bubble. There will always be more to do and learn beyond its walls.
A year ago, I would have just said we could fly over ourselves. I mean, let's be real. The capital isn't going to fall apart if we just sneak over for a little tour, is it?
Of course not. We specifically put precautions.
What precautions exactly? And no, it's only been a year. You do not, that's not enough time to freaking establish a firm power base.
There he is! Over there! See? I told you, that's His Majesty, innit? Might have been a bit too obvious.
Oi there, Your Majesty!
You dare hoy the king? You swine!
Steady on, Hulkenberg, calm. You needn't draw steel on the poor fellow. We're the ones who indulged in this little day trip.
Your Majesty!
No, you didn't. You didn't agree to this.
Have to say, my life's a lot easier now.
There's more work to do every day. But we're in this together. We believe in you.
Everyone's so supportive. Kind of brings back memories from last year.
Rather. It's the sort of thing to get a chap all misty-eyed over the past. What a journey it was.
Looks like we're drawing a crowd. Time to get back to work.
Indeed. A veritable mountain of tasks awaits us, and I will see it crested.
And not long after, the new year dawned.
journey? Are you really planning on leaving us?
Yep, the king's abandoning the capital!
I won't force you to come. I'm fine going alone.
I let myself stagnate, want to learn more about the world.
I already told you.
Yeah, this is definitely the part that sours is ending like hell for me. Once again, people fought, bled, and died so our ass could sit in that seat, and we're just going, later!
Sounds like fun, but...
We're not even telling anybody!
The slums is one thing, and a proper journey is quite another. You're a king now, lad. You've got the people's expectations on your shoulders. It's all right to just sit on your throne and mind the home front, you know?
I mean, they kind of have to be that? That is a major part of being a king. Yes, they can leave and go on tours, etc., but that also has to be done with planning.
I don't care to be kingly. That's less important than doing what I need to do.
You're not even concerned? Can't you take this a little more seriously?
Never the fearless gadabout, eh? Well, I take your point, lad. Magla and the humans make a fine barometer for the anxiety still swirling in the country. So you go out and give it a proper survey. Where it is and how much is there.
We have people to do that!
If people can't face their anxieties, they can't keep their eyes forward. And if they can't do that, we'll have a bally hard time moving forward as a nation or a people. So you want to get a better grasp of it all. That's your most important duty as a ruler. That's what you're thinking, eh?
Right.
If that was your plan, you could have just said so.
Sounds like a fine idea to me. A proper spot of fun, besides. Wouldn't expect anything less from our king and captain. Well, since I'm the bally court engineer, I've no choice but to come along. I'm the only driver fit to maneuver the Royal Skyrunner after all. Yes, here begins our quest anew. Let us sally forth upon our... hello? Are you not listening to me?
Sire, you've really got to stop chasing these ideas all on your own. You'll be the death of us.
Once again, sire, I've asked...
Yes, the general of the military and the head of the Royal Guard. Well, the Royal Guard one. Yeah, she should definitely be coming along. Seriously, why were we planning on at least taking Hulkenberg along?
You called for them beforehand.
Saved us a bit of time, eh? Though, hello, what's this? I count only 2 of the 6 partisans. Short a few spears.
For my part, I believe 'tis unrealistic for all of us to depart the capital together.
Oh, so you have no plans to
This Hulkenberg will stay that, but
Hulkenberg and I talked it over. We decided that if you insist on going, we'd rather go with you than stop you.
Are you sure about this?
I was thinking back to our last fight with Luis. So many people supported us, but not for any high-minded ideals or arguments.
They were supporting us because we were actively fighting a monster on their behalf.
And how did we end racism if nobody was really wanting to believe in that?
In the end,
in under a
they
year.
make choices based on their personal experience and emotion. Even if decided justly and supported by prosperity, people may struggle to trust a king whose face they do not know. An invisible ruler is no cure for their fears.
And again, how does everyone not know our face when our, our head was big and bold on the freaking king rocks all throughout the kingdom?
Right. I'm not opposed to the idea of getting out into the world again. Really, it might be the wisest move to make sure you're a king everyone knows.
Then why are we doing this as an official tour? Friends and I believe as I do, their support is the greatest treasure I could have.
This early into the new year? 'Tis never a dull moment in your Majesty's employ.
Bit of a smaller party than we last set out with, huh? But it's a pleasure to be on the road again with you.
Okay, but can we really afford to have both our general and the Royal Guard's captain coming along for this?
'Tis natural course for the royal guard to accompany the king.
I mean, that is literally her job. It's a stroll that's really the problem here.
We'll make it work. Got to learn to trust others. And
Also, what is the point of the royal guard whose entire job is guarding the royal family if they're not guarding the royal family? But you're... it's only been a year!
Thank you. All of you. Let's be off.
You once heard my voice and answered a query in kind. Is fantasy a powerless creation? That timeless question. So long as life remains in the world, we seekers all shall search for our answer. But he will find his. Of that I am certain. And it is thanks to you for believing in and guiding him. That was the true purpose of my royal magic, you know. To seek and obtain guidance from denizens of a land beyond ours. A land that has not yet lost hope. And it was you who answered the call. Armed with your hope, armed with the power of fantasy, you rose in glory. Such courage, such whimsy, and yes, what thrills. You have my sincerest thanks.
Feels familiar. It's been far too long.
Aye, the wind feels an echo of days past.
Unusually poetic for you.
Well...
They're awful, aren't they? They would have left us behind.
Well, I'm not certain we're in a position to talk, having followed straight after, saying we could just teleport back.
Well, hey, we figured the kids might want to change your scenery, like.
So most of the heads of freaking state have just completely abandoned their positions without telling anybody.
Indeed.
To go wandering the land.
And even greenery to the sands.
I give a year, assuming that we are, well, there's a lot of space to traverse on this wonderful little tour of ours before the entire capital has fallen into anarchy and some new regime has taken our place and we need to go back and try to stop it. Seriously, what the fuck? What the fuck? There's having a nice happy ending, but what's wrong with being having a happy ending with us actually being a king and doing our goddamn job? It's okay for us to like go into town to try to hear the thoughts of the people, but to just leave the abandon the entire country without telling anybody to go wandering the land, why? Why? I swear this is when I started to just look back at the game with a much more critical eye and just go, what the fuck, game? I was pretty happy with most of it until we got this ending and just everything felt pointless. We fought so long and hard just to abandon everything and all of our responsibility to go have fun. Without even telling anybody we were doing it. What the fuck? Again, this is just gonna end up with like a rebellion rising up. We didn't destroy the Luis faction. We didn't have we didn't hunt down his followers and force surrender / imprison them. We didn't do anything about that. And all of our efforts will probably go to nothing as the nobles we just let loose across the country just go like, oh hey, we could go back to our status quo, because I didn't see anything mentioning what happened to the Council of Evil. I guess Brigida kind of has the ball guy job, but what happened to the Prince of Montreal and Brylehaven? Neither of them got mentioned. Do they still have their position? Did we oust them? What kind of nobility is in charge of the land? We're still in a freaking monarchy! Oi! As you can see, I'm a little bit conflicted on this game. gameplay-wise, it's fun, but I think its biggest problem is pacing. Tying itself to the Persona calendar system was probably a bad idea, honestly. Especially when it comes to like locking the whole archetype system behind social links. That, I feel like that wasn't the best of ideas. Because it makes so many classes just fall off hard and just not be very viable and feel bad. Like, Mage is fine, except for the fact that we're tied to Gallica's freaking plot-based, like, growth. We only get new stuff for it as the plot goes on. We can't actively try to pursue it. So that makes it feel a lot worse of an archetype to, you know, try to level up, etc. Even though the fact that it's our primary elemental damage. But once freaking, Commander becomes available, it instantly gets put on the back burner. It's just kind of meh. The only thing it's got going for it is the fact that it has lightning. But lightning damage is one of the rarest freaking weaknesses in the game. The most common weakness is fire and wind. Ice shows up a few times, but it's behind those two. So again, it really hurts that class when when you're locked like that. Same goes with freaking Brawler. You stop having access to Brawler stuff about like a third of the way in the game, and then you don't get access to more until you're at like right before the big palace dungeon, you know, floating in the sky. That's when you finally get access to like more than 2 inheritance slots on Brawler. And at that point, you also have freaking Berserker that just unlocked, and Berserker has freaking Charge. And it also has a very similar, you know, fighting style. The only thing Brawler has on it is that it has, you know, the HP cost spell. Those for blunt attacks. Kind of, although looking back on that, it's kind of weird that only blunt gets freaking HP cost attacks. You don't have that with either Slash or with Pierce. Speaking of Pierce, Sniper also has that problem too. You're locked out of a lot of its stuff until late game because you are tied to whenever the dungeons for show up that Neris's relics are in. So again, it feels like bad to really invest into, especially since by that time, you'll have like 3 or 4 slots on a bunch of your other classes, so they feel more customizable, fun to use. So again, that really harms it because it's all locked behind certain dates. I mean, you could argue that in others like, say, Final Fantasy V, you're still like locked to the plot to unlock your classes, but you unlock all classes a third of the way into that game. So you have a lot more time to play around with it. Final Fantasy Tactics as well is another big class-based game. But you actually do have access to every class from the get-go. The only thing like keeping you from using them is how much you're willing to grind for it. So again, locking so much of the game off based on that just feels... It also doesn't help, like, you get so many party members late in the game. Juna is definitely usable, but that's because of the Persona Master or Mask Dancer archetype's ability to like equip masks to supplement its lack of skills. But even that is kind of iffy too. Because in late game, as you might notice, the best accessory has already been decided. It's the freaking utilitarian manuals. Because those reduce turn costs on the super moves. But the problem with the freaking Mask Dancer is the fact that it takes that slot to use a mask. If it wasn't for the fact that it had mass charge, it'd easily be the worst class in the game. Well, at least late game, I guess, but still, I'm not really gonna defend it that much. I mean, Yuffie also has a lot of problems too because of that. Again, she is an extremely late game recruit. Her social link is extremely one note. It's all about her... I used to think it was okay to sacrifice myself until you guys came into my life and said I shouldn't. Like that, how many times did that line get stated for her? Like, seriously, that was the one point that they kept hammering over and over and over and over and over again with her freaking dialogue. It's like, oh god, find another freaking thing for her to be part of her character. Yeah, sweet lord. Hey, Basilio ain't too bad writing-wise, just for the fact that he shows up a lot earlier and he had a lot more to his character before that show, before he actually joined up. So he doesn't feel as bad that way. And I do like him as a character, so I was willing to use him as a berserker, but it also, like, he's also extremely limited because of that. Again, he shows up right before the second to last dungeon, and you have not enough time to really train him up. Neither are the dungeons really equipped to do that well outside of the final one. I guess speeding up, I'm not entirely certain how I would balance that, but it feels like archetypes really level up too slow. Like again, with Basilio, I had to shove so many freaking Leaves of Light into him in order to just get him up to freaking his royal class. So yeah, there's definitely pacing issues, and I'm not entirely certain how to like account for that for balance and not. And I guess the game doesn't know how to do that either now that I think about it, because again, the most common weakness in the game is fire and wind. The elements that are like the most immediately available ones to a class change. Because the first spells you learn on Seeker is the first spell you learn on Wizard. You just do that and bam, you've got those weakness spells. And with Commander, it doesn't take very long for him to learn that. It's like, what was it, level 5-ish on Commander to pick up a fire attack. So we get, so those one, oh yeah, and also Mass Dancer. Its first spell is is it medium tier? I'm pretty sure it's medium tier. It feels like it's a heavy tier spell when you first get it, and definitely has a better animation than most of the wizard spells. But again, it's fire. Fire is the most common freaking weakness in the game. So, yeah. And another issue? New Game Plus doesn't fix that. In New Game Plus, you have to re-unlock everything through the social links. You have to redo all the follower bonds. Like, initially, we do keep, like, our progress in a class, but we still need to unlock the class to have access to anything from it again. So, like, at the start, we would just have, you know, Knight, Swordsman, Wizard, Healer, and Seeker. And we would just have their 5 base rolls. We would have whatever we learn in those, but that's all we would have. We would again have to go through all the follower quests, and then we would be able to have them again. And that also includes the higher tier classes. If you wanted to play against the play with like Summoner, which is another class where like you have to grind your ass off in order to actually like get the talismans and stuff. Same goes for the Mass Dancer for all the stuff it has to learn. I realized that as well. We got to the end of the credits, but my god, I have a lot to talk about. And it's like, I don't know, it's like, I feel like it would be better if the game opened up with like every class available earlier, so you could start building more and having goals and stuff like that. I don't know. Also, the existence of the royal classes is also not the best idea in my opinion. The problem is that it gives like a, how do I put it? It's like the game saying, hey yo, this is this character's super special unique class. The one you've got to do all these hoops to unlock. This is supposed to be the ultimate expression of this character. You should be building towards it. Yes, you don't have to, but the game is actively showing it in front of you like this big shiny beacon to say, this is what this character should do. Which really hurts character customization in a way. Because again, it's like, it's the big shiny. Why wouldn't you want to go for the big shiny? The game wants you to go for the big shiny. It's telling you that this is what this character was built for. And then it tells you, and then like some of the character requirements for it is like, oh hey, guess what? You fucked up. Because it doesn't show you what the requirements are until you unlock them in the final month. And heck, I even kind of showed it off myself, is that if you don't go talk to more, you don't unlock those classes. And the game and by that point, why would you go visit more after finishing up Seeker? because he has no other role to him outside of making the masks and the talismans for Summoner. So it's like, it feels like they specifically try to keep you from going to, like they remove his role from us having to go in there in order to, like, you know, learn new archetypes and mess with inheritance stuff. And they specifically remove that as a gameplay thing partway through and says, like, yeah, you could just do that all from the menu. Don't worry about going and seeing more again. It's a very weird design choice, in my opinion. Let's see, for music, I do enjoy the music overall. I do like the chanting for it. I know that's, like, it's gonna be hit or miss for people. It's music. Everybody has different tastes. I do like it. I do like the war chanting as part of the combat music. Although I will say some songs really do blend together, and a lot of them have the big grandiose feel, so it does, like, it's not quiet enough in spots to let the other parts shine, I guess. But overall, it's alright. The writing, though. Oh god. This game is at war with itself, I swear. Like, the entire, like, premise of it is that, like, this is the world's first chance at an election to determine their world leader. Even though it apparently isn't the world leader, there's other countries around that have absolutely no names or presence in this game. We don't care about this, forget those are a thing, it's all about this one kingdom. But it's the people's first chance to rise up and have, like, an election and, like, have a leader that's of the people for the people. And then we're also trying to, like, completely undermine that. Like, everybody's undermining it, and including us. Like, our main goal from the start is for us to, like, win the election and then abdicate for the prince. And the prince isn't enough of a character or a reason to make anybody, like, I would hope that most people would look at this and go, that seems kind of weird. Like, everybody talks about how the prince is, like, the goodest of good boys and wants to make the bestest of best countries and all that stuff. But again, he's not a character. And yet we are trying to basically scam the entire country into, like, being ruled under him because we know better. That just feels so many kinds of wrong. I know there's a problem with election systems in all countries, etc., that try to do that, but I mean, it's like, doesn't feel right that we're actively supporting that kind of action, you know? On top of all that, it's like, we kind of proved Luis right in a way. Like, his whole thing is about how power should rule everything, and that's exactly how we rule. We get our position because we killed all of our opposition. Like, seriously, Forden dies to Luis, and then we kill Luis, and we're the only one standing. No other face shows up on the rock. There's no other options. There is no choice but us because we killed everybody else. I mean, all the other, candidates we meet are all just one-note jokes, and on top of that, we kick all their asses and tell them to get out of the running, and they do so. Again, might makes right. We kick their asses so we get to rule. And we're supposed to act like we're the peaceful, loving group, when it's like, eh? On top of that, like, the whole thing is about racial inclusivity, but we aren't racially inclusive. We completely we don't have freaking Iskanders and Roags in the party. We just have 7 other groups. Those 2 specifically are not allowed in the group party for some reason. Which, again, feels really wrong for the one that's all about the different races coming together to fight for a common good when we're excluding 2 of them. On top of that, it also doesn't help that Roag, Iskander, and Clemar are the only villains, too. We do not have any bad guys that are Nidian, Perippus, Eugif, Eldon, of course, because that's us, and, like, the other lesser ones. It's like, they aren't allowed to be bad because they're the downtrodden ones. We can't have the downtrodden guys be bad. Like with Katarina's whole Eat the Rich scheme, all of its implementation was by Clemar. Why couldn't that have been one of her fellow Perippus? Wouldn't that have hit harder? But no, it's like, again, the Clemmer are supposed to be like the top dog on the racial tier list in this world because that was what the king was. And then we have him having the eat the rich policy. It's just like, feels like its messages are extremely conflicted, you know? It also doesn't help that we have no politics in the politic game. Because there's more to politics than just saying it's everybody together to make a new country. Like, how are we running the country? Apparently Yuffie is a chief magistrate. She's one of the major judges who oversees the courts. She was the religious leader of Etria. And now she's judge. She suddenly wants to be a judge and all that. Is that like, oh, I don't know. Like I could definitely see Basilio becoming like, well, I guess he's like captain of like the police. Basically, he's the one looking out to try to stop street crime and stuff like that. That fits Basilio. Hulkenberg being a member of the leading the Royal Guard. Yeah, I mean, let's face it. Hulkenberg's one big trait is, my gosh, I failed the prince as a royal guard, so I must right my wrongs and all that. So her becoming a head of the royal guard again, yeah, makes sense for her. And Heisme was a knight, so him becoming having a role in the knights, yeah, that makes sense. Then we start to get to some of the other characters, and it's like, wait, like Yuffie becoming a judge, like well, admittedly, like, their entire handling of religion is extremely mishandled, I'd say. Outside of just religion being bad on all counts, so it's like, I'm not entirely certain how they would fit that in well religiously, but still, it's like, I mean, let's face it, Sanctism is just, God, it's just painted to be generic evil religion bad guys. With the Order of Catholicism, with no real firm beliefs besides the fact there's prayer. They're basically every Western evil rolled into one. Borden is literally like arms dealer, warmonger, religious leader, racial extremist. I'm sure if they had time, you put sexist of some kind in there too. It's just like they wrapped all this evil into one man and didn't do anything really with it outside of the fact that it's evil. Like again, there was the whole Council of Evil. We don't know what happened to the Council of Evil guys. Apparently the Prince of Brilhaven and Monterio are apparently backing us at the end, but we have no idea what they're doing now. Again, we just abandoned the entire kingdom, and these guys who are shady shit as hell, well, nobles running their own fiefdoms. I mean, what would they do if once they heard the fact that the throne is suddenly empty? I'm pretty sure it wouldn't take long for them to try to secede from the kingdom and form their own countries again under their rule, kind of a deal, you know? And then there's just like all the stuff with igniters. It's like they're trying to equate it to like gun violence, but it's like, again, this is a world where monsters exist, where we need those kind of things to defend villages from incursions from the giant freaking kaiju humans and stuff like the minotaurs, the goblins, etc. Some level of combat ability is required to defend against that kind of stuff, you know? It just feels so weird and ham-fisted, and like they didn't think it through all that much, except for like the very surface level of the problem in the game that's trying to be about politics, where it's like, it feels like there could have been so much more to it, you know? I have the ending of Katarina's kind of fits that exactly. Because again, at the end of her whole eat the rich thing, it's like, nah, we shouldn't eat the rich. All these downtrodden, destitute, and highly discriminated people, just get a job. Like, really? How? Their whole answer was the fact that, like, Katarina has some contacts, and this one guy knows a furniture store owner who was willing to hire some Perippus, but that's like, that's a good start, but that's not enough to help an entire race, you know? There has to be a whole lot more in there. Because again, it's not exactly like they're gonna stop competing with the air quotes, like, higher races. Racism isn't gonna just disappear, and just because they suddenly they have, like, some kind of an education doesn't mean that people are gonna stop being racist assholes and prevent people from getting jobs and the like. It just feels, again, it's just like a surface level thing that doesn't feel like it touches on, like, the bigger systemic issues that's keeping them from being able to actually, like, thrive. Ugh.
In your eyes, I know our journey was ultimately a fiction. However,
yeah, no good.
I hope your memories of this fantastical adventure burn as bright in your reality. I hope the promise of our world echoes in you. With all my heart, I hope that fantasy gives you strength.
And everyone's off wandering. And I do know that we do have the ability to teleport back to Grand Trad. I kind of brought up the problem with freaking Juna. Like, there isn't communication in place for us to know what's going on back in the capital, you know?
I never expected a view like this.
Let's see it all. Let's see the world.
So, like, if shit goes down in Grand Trad, how will we know to teleport back?
In days of eld, the people prospered and perished in turn. Struck by their ways, I wrote a book of my dearest ideas. A tale of fantasy. In my vision, they placed their trust, and so the kingdom breathed new life.
The strength to believe in the unknown, that can change everything. Without a doubt, you will face all sorts of trials ahead. But carry onward with all your heart. Onward, fearless, into a world unknown.
As he might live on, but who knows if this kingdom will. Alright. And I know I've been bitching, but again, I do enjoy the gameplay overall. I guess it's just because I want the game to be better, because I did enjoy what the parts that I did, and wish they could be more, I guess. I guess with that, thank y'all for coming on up, and hopefully I'll see you again next time.